Welcome back to KDS Reviews. One of my previous episodes earlier, we talked about the villains of cinema. This time, let's talk about some of the heroes. These are my own personal top 10 heroes. Let's start off at number 10, and that's Rooster Cogburn, played by John Wayne in the movie True Grit. Now, to me, what makes this guy a hero is that he was hired by this little girl, teenage girl, that her parents were killed by this outlaw. I know what you're saying. Oh, that's just basically any movie or even any western. It's just Wayne's portrayal of that character is just. I mean, he seemed realistic. I remember seeing it as a kid, and I was just completely gripped by his acting in that movie. That's Rooster Cogburn in True Grit. Up next, number 9, Ellen Ripley, excellently portrayed by Sigourney Weaver in Alien and Aliens and Alien 3. Now, what I liked about that role was I was surprised when I was, like I said, I was maybe mid-teenager, maybe 11, 12 years old when that movie came out. That was the first time I ever seen a female in that type of a heroic role. Because especially in the first movie, Alien, she really wasn't the main person. She really wasn't the main, character going after the aliens. She was just another one of the scientists aboard the Nostramos. Everyone was getting wiped out. I mean, everyone was getting wiped out. It was only left to her. She was the sole survivor of the ship. She did an excellent portrayal, and especially in the sequel, Aliens, she really took over. She was a tough girl in that movie. That's Ellen Ripley, played by Sigourney Weaver. Number 8, Indiana Jones, played by Harrison Ford. Now, the Raiders of the Lost Ark series, especially the first one, surprised me. I didn't even know that what it was really about. I remember seeing the trailer for it in another movie, and I went, oh, well, I'll just go see this movie because Harrison Ford's in it. We'll see what this is about. It's kind of played like a 50s, 60s style serial action star. He really portrayed him. I mean, so used to him being Han Solo that when that movie was going on, I completely forgot that he had even played Han Solo in the Star Wars movies. I mean, he made that character completely so much different that like you said, you forget that he even was Han Solo in one of the biggest franchises of all time. He played him as a rogue, rough and tumble, a lot of actions, the whip, all the swinging, the fighting, the gunfire. Excellent movie. Up next, another one, Rocky, played by Sylvester Stallone. Now, what made this character unique is that he wasn't the star. He wasn't a heavyweight champion. He was really a nobody. We watched the first Rocky movie. He's just a nobody. He just, okay, we're going to have a little sparring contest here, him and Apollo Creed. And it turned out to be a war. Now, Rocky is based off of a fighting event that happened with Muhammad Ali back in the 70s. And then when Stallone was trying to make the movie, the studio heads, they were trying to buy the rights and get rid of him and cast someone else as Rocky. And he stayed with it, and he won an Academy Award for that movie. That's Rocky, played by Sylvester Stallone. Up next, James Bond. Any of the actors that played James Bond, but particularly Sean Connery. He was suave, sophisticated. He made James Bond so realish like that Ian Fleming started writing the James Bond books to be just like Sean Connery. He was a master with words, master with women, master with gadgets. It was an excellent movie, excellent actor. No one was able to top Sean Connery and James Bond. Up next, all-American hero, George Bailey, played by Jimmy Stewart in It's a Wonderful Life. Now, this movie right here, if this movie doesn't touch you or touch your emotions, especially the ending, then you might want to check yourself and pulse to see if you're still alive. It's the story of a man whose life is showed to him if he had never been born. He plays him. You follow him through everything that happens, the things that he thinks he should have done, should have left town. I don't want to be in charge of the savings and loan. And then the angel shows him everything that would have happened if he had never been born. Now, Jimmy Stewart played, an everyday man, kind of like Tom Hanks used to be in the 90s. And the way he portrays this guy, he's not a hero. He's not perfect, especially when he gets mad at his uncle for, not losing out to the money, you know, to the evil banker. You really get to show the range of Jimmy Stewart. That's Jimmy Stewart playing George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life. Up next, number 4, especially one of my all-time favorite movies. That's Virgil Tibbs, played excellently by Sidney Poitier. Now, this movie right here takes place in like the deep South. Segregation is still going on. He comes down from Philadelphia to solve this murder. And the way he's treated by the outsiders and the people in the town, they actually start to like him and see things from his point of view. You know, Rod Steiger did a really good role, too, in there as the captain of the police force. But to me, that's one of the best roles, best movies I've ever seen, especially a dramatic film. And Sidney Poitier carried that role of Virgil Tibbs so much that they made a sequel to it. That's Virgil Tibbs, played by the great actor Sidney Poitier in The Heat of the Night. Here's another one, number 3. That's Don Hayward. Who's Don Hayward? That's Spencer Tracy in Judgment at Nuremberg. If you haven't seen it, especially for my younger viewers, if you have not seen this movie, you really need to see the movie. It's about the trial at Nuremberg after World War II. It also co-stars Max von Sydow and also William Shatner. It is an unbelievable movie. It's based off of true events that happened after they captured the Nazis. You know, they brought them to trial, and they asked them, you know, why did they do this? They even go through, there's even a scene in there with him where he goes kind of through town and talks to the people in town and asks them, you know, did they see anything? And they all act like, and one of them says something to me that's very important. She says, if we did see anything, what were we supposed to do? And he snaps back and look at her. You know, there's a lot of great acting in this movie. If you haven't seen Judgment at Nuremberg, you really need to see if you can get the physical copy. I wouldn't even bother streaming with that. I would try to see if I could get the physical copy of that movie. That's Don Hayward. That's played by Spencer Tracy in Judgment at Nuremberg. And now we come down to the final 2. And this is where the controversy is going to start. At number 2, Chris Evans, Captain America. Now, he plays Captain America in a very, very good role. I mean, I believe there were people who knew nothing about comic books, knew nothing about, except Batman, who knew nothing about Captain America. He made the MCU to me. Not Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans as Captain America. You know, he played him as a wholesome, heroic hero. Like they said in Avengers, Tony Stark said, I just make everything look good. He's the real leader. I mean, wow. They've had other people, you know, Sam Wilson, you know, U.S. agent and the Thunderbolts, but none of them been able to top it. This guy, I mean, no matter what he does, he's trying to avoid playing Captain America again. He's never going to live that down. He's the perfect pick to play that character. Now, I wonder who the number 1 hero, in my opinion, now, my own personal opinion, the most heroic hero in cinema. Think about it. There's a whole lot of them I could go through. And I know there's some I left behind. But in my own personal opinion, this is the most heroic person. I don't know why. This person kind of reminded me of me. Maybe I was a teenager. That's Luke Skywalker from Star Wars. Played by Mark Hamill. Now, he started off in the first Star Wars movie. He was just a farmhand. You know, he was just a nobody. And as the series went on, he built himself all the way up to a Jedi Knight. Mark Hamill played him good as the progression goes from Star Wars all the way to Return of the Jedi. You know, by the time Return of the Jedi got here, he's a full-fledged Jedi. He played him really good, you know. That was the only thing I'd ever seen Mark Hamill in, besides, what was it, 8 is Enough. That's what he was on. What TV series he was on was 8 is Enough. Can you believe that? But he plays him really good. In each movie, he gets more mature, and by the time we get near the end of the Return of the Jedi, he's a full, mature Jedi Knight. So that, to me, is the most heroic heroes in cinema. Now, what hero do you think I left out? You know, I could have did John McClane. I could have did Mel Gibson and Lethal Weapon. There's plenty of them. Let's get some down in the comment. Who you think is some of the heroes of cinema? And if you would like to see more about these heroes in cinema, then go down in this link below. We'll click you to an Amazon link. You can purchase a documentary about some of these heroes. And remember, as an Amazon associate, I earn from every qualifying purchase. KDS Reviews is seen every Wednesday and every Sunday. If you like this type of content, then like, subscribe, and share. This is KDS Reviews, and I'll see you in the next video.